What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it is the NBL Round 18 review. And look, pretty good week from us. 408 for our score. Went up 7 positions overall to 22nd, which is pretty sick. Now, obviously, we did have Lamb on field, so we definitely felt that when he went down. For those that don't know, he has torn his Achilles, so he will be out the rest of the season and basically be a must trade. Now, I think there was a lot of positive movements for teams that didn't have Lamb, obviously, and for those that did have him, I believe about 85% of him had on field, so we definitely felt that brunt. But that's okay. We'll jump into the team, we'll go through it. Just for those that aren't aware, I am going to Philly this week for, I guess, if you're not, goodness, why am I fumbling with my words so much? But it is just local slang for Phillip Island, so we'll be going down there for the week. I will not be on the AFL Supercoach Hub pod tonight, but still go check them out if you are interested in AFL content. But jumping into the team, this is how we stacked up. Honestly, we kind of got burnt. For those that didn't see our video in the week where we made the trade, sorry, that is just popping off too. I'm going to throw that over there. We made the move to get McVeigh in instead of Cheatham, and this actually burns us pretty hard, just in the sense that obviously McVeigh only outscored Clark by 5. If I did make that move, I've already worked that out, that I would have lost 11 points from the points that I've earned now, so definitely more of an increase this week. But if I did make the move where I went for Cheatham, one of the things I was looking at is in the final week, I would have already had basically 9 people in the double before my trades, meaning I would have made one trade, and then I would have had one luxury trade that maybe sideways a Lee or something. Now, this has burnt us super hard because obviously Lamb going down means we could have sideways Lamb. So we could have still had 10 people on the final round on their double, but it's not going to happen anymore. So yeah, apparently going back on that trade, it just didn't work out because Clark and Cheatham went massive. McVeigh did okay, at least in that second game. 37 really saved his bacon. But then the longevity of not having that luxury trade for the final round actually just kind of ruins us, which is really unfortunate. And as I said, Lamb just going down on this week as well. 9 on field. Obviously, Clark on field would have been significantly better, but I can't be upset there because I never even toyed with that idea. You know, Clark going into Brisbane historically hadn't gotten even over 30 against them, where Lamb had gone, 52 and 37 against Perth and then gets injured. There's nothing you can do about that. It just happens. But yeah, just really unfortunate this week that it sort of fell the way it did. Crawford, though, not too bad. It would have been nice if we had a bit more money, but as you see, we only had $1,000 in the bank. And look, honestly, this week's trades actually just got wrecked as well because Cheatham went up 34k and Lamb lost 31. So obviously our plan was to get Cheatham in, and I did make the comment that, we won't be able to get him if he goes up too much money, but I was like, nah, I doubt he would go up too much. But then the 34 is massive. He goes up 30 plus k. Lamb losing 30 plus k, it ruins our trades as well this week. So this really backfired, this play. I really should have brought in Cheatham, accepted that I lost a few points this week, but man, it would have set us up so nicely for the back end of this year, and I would be feeling almost a guaranteed top 10 finish. And that might sound like, over enthusiastic by me, but that's just how I feel about it. Obviously I can track the trades I would have done for the rest of the year and see how the total points end up, but I can tell you it's already going to be significantly better because you're going to have to see what trades I do, and I don't feel great about them. But yeah, we will just go straight into the trades here because, as I said, it's going to be a nice quick video this time. Lamb out of the team. We already know I want Cheatham, and look, 2 weeks of him being absolute fire. Definitely need him in the team. So we'll bring in Cheatham, but now at the 304 price tag, and as I mentioned, Lamb being only 350, just... First of all, I didn't think I'd be trading Lamb, but obviously losing all that money before the trade really hurts. That leaves 47k left, and this ruins me because I want a PJC this week, and now Crawford can't go to PJC, McVeigh can't go to PJC. It ends up so awkward where I have to actually trade Kell, who I wanted to, my idea was to keep Trey Kell for the season once Lamb went down. I went, oh no, Lamb went down, that's fine, I'll just have to keep Trey Kell and hope that everything goes well. Nope, this is awful because I don't get to keep Trey Kell now. I have to bring in PJC, and oh my goodness, I have to trade him for PJC, sorry. But yeah, as I said, if I already had Cheatham sitting here on the bench, it would have made life significantly easier. Yes, Lamb would have gone out of the team. Maybe a little bit hard to say who we would have gone for specifically, because it would have gone for an Illawarra or a New Zealand player. We definitely would have brought PJC, and that was no questions asked. He would have come in, and he would have come in for Kel like this situation happened. But then Lamb 350 really could have gone to anyone, and that is, yeah, just really unfortunate it couldn't happen. Now, in regards to trades this week, I think a really big talking point that we do need to go through, even if I go through it quickly, is will players be rested? It is a massive question here coming into the final week, because if Perth and Melbourne both win their single games this week, they're literally untouchable from their positions. Melbourne have a 2-game buffer on Perth with a percentage lead, meaning if they win this, they will keep at least a 2-game buffer with 2 games left. And then Perth have at least a 2-game buffer on Tasmania. So same situation. If they win, they're going to be keeping that. Actually, they have 1 extra game on Tasmania. So if they win, then Tasmania only have 1 more game to catch them, even though they have a 2-game buffer. So Melbourne and Perth winning this week make them untouchable for the rest of the season. They can't move from first and second. So you'd think that does beg the question, are players going to get rested in this final game? Now, you'd almost think that because of the situation, it's guaranteed. I think guaranteed with Melbourne, they have such depth on their bench that there's no way they're not going to run a lot of their second team, and maybe their starters get a bit of minutes, but obviously, managed minutes coming into finals. Saying that, the basketball blokes talked about this. That last year Xavier Cook ended up getting injured, not injured, but got rested, and it ruined a lot of people. But this year we also have the FIBA break. So after the regular season happens, before final starts, there is a FIBA week off. And that's a big question. That's a week break that teams are getting anyway. So why would they rest them another week in advance, give them 2 weeks off? Look, I mean, obviously you don't want players to get injured coming in the finals, so I still think they're going to have managed minutes, and I wouldn't expect players to get over 15 minutes of court time from Melbourne's starting lineup. But they have such depth in their bench that, I think they could very easily just spread the minutes, make sure everyone gets a fair workload, that nobody's at risk of being injured or anything like that, as well as still being very competitive while doing that. So yeah, I just think Melbourne is almost guaranteed to be resting minutes, which is kind of crazy. Where I do think Perth, the way they structure up, they don't really rest Cotton. I would still expect managed minutes again, so definitely a tone back on the minutes these players have been playing. A lot of these players in Perth play 30 plus minutes. Doolittle plays 30 plus, Cotton plays 30 plus, Pinder plays high 20s. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was toned back a bit, maybe towards that 20-minute mark, maybe the 25-minute mark at least. But yeah, I'd expect some restricted minutes in the final week. So not this week coming, but they're on singles this week, so I wouldn't preemptively move for these players. But then round 20, I would think they would get managed minutes. As I said, this is a bit of a weird situation because historically, my understanding is that players have been rested, and that makes a lot of sense, as from a team perspective, to go into finals to rest players. But what doesn't make, what makes it a little bit more interesting this year is the FIBA break. They're already getting a break. Then if you are first and second, you're not going to play the first rounds of finals. You're going to have a very long break between when the season ends and when you get regular games in. So you'd think they have to play the final games to keep the runs in their legs. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised, and I would honestly expect them to rest them or manage their minutes to a degree into that final week. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when trading, guys. I would honestly not be getting preemptively on these Melbourne or Perth players because of that. I'm even kind of scared of holding Cotton, but I think just the way Cotton's built is he plays more minutes. But hopefully he plays enough. But yeah, that's how the team's looking at the moment, guys. The only good news here for these Tasmanian players is that they're coming into SEM here, Southeast Melbourne, a team that's basically given up, and Tasmania want the percentage to keep third place. So there's a good chance they come out and belt them to a degree. I'm really expecting Crawford to have a good game here at least. And McVeigh's usually, silent when he does his work. So I'm really hoping for big games for these two. Look, they're not going to be on my field if I actually set up my team properly, so you see what I'm looking at. I'm thinking that holding them isn't going to be the worst case scenario, at least. for this week. And then I've got to hold one of Humphrey, McVeigh, or Crawford for the final round. You know what, I'll talk about that next week on my decision there at the time. But on field, we've at least got 5 doubles. The 4 players on their singles, I think they're players that can definitely put out decent scores. Hump maybe a bit harder going into Brisbane, that obviously have multiple tools that could shut him down. But captain option this week. Captains Illawarra versus 2 teams that definitely give up big points. New Zealand playing Melbourne. A bit hard to look towards New Zealand, honestly. I think at the end of the day, the guy that's in form is Gary Clark. He has been insane. I think you just got to put him as the captain and probably just ride the hot hand. He's been very good, very consistent the last few weeks. And he's going into New Zealand, who's a team that usually give up big points to big men. And I guess Sydney, who love to run the floor and get a lot of scores as well. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to go there. I think you can't go wrong with, honestly. I mean, look, the unfortunate thing is Frawling's been in really poor form, so I think a lot of people are going to avoid him as the captain option this week. But yeah, I think Clark is probably the outright obvious captain option for everyone. And I mean, if you want to get spicy and go away from it with a PJC or something like that, definitely feel free to. But yeah, this is at least how I'm going to line up for the week. Anyway, enough of that rambling, guys. Once again, I appreciate you all that stick to the end of the video. I appreciate all those that subscribe for their consistent injections of Supercoach content. And yeah, till next time, guys. Next week, I hope to catch you for the final trades heading into the final week of Supercoach. So hopefully we can do some serious damage and maybe catch that top 10 if we're lucky. Peace. Later.